Ladies and gentlemen, the so-called free speech crusaders in the Congress party today have faced a setback after senior Congress leader A.K. Antony's son, Anil Antony, quit the party over his refusal to redact his tweet on the BBC documentary in which he had claimed that placing BBC's views on Indian institutions was setting a dangerous precedent and would undermine India's sovereignty. Anil Antony tweeted saying that he refused the intolerant calls to retract his tweet by those fighting for free speech within his party. Anil Antony joins me on the Newshour tonight. Thank you for joining me, Anil Antony. And Anil Antony, I want to ask you, was it a hurried decision by you to quit the Congress party? And it was a no-holds-barred tweet and letter that you put out. Who actually asked you to retract your tweet?
So Navika, again, first of all, I would want to make certain things clear. So early morning, I did resign from my post in the KPCC as well as the AICC. In the KPCC and in the AICC of all the political roles that are having in the Congress at this moment. And I had written a...
Getting echo, Sharif, if you could sort that out. Yes. Go on. Yes, Anil Antony, we can hear you.
And I had... Yes, thank you. Yes, now it's better. And I had written a resignation letter where it is very self-explanatory, where whatever I have to say in that, where whatever I need to say is very crystal clear there. I do mention about certain people, but at this moment I don't really want to have any kind of personal references, nor do I want to have any personal attacks against people, because whatever conversations we had till yesterday, I do believe that it was done with certain amount of trust and privacy, and I would like to keep it at this moment, so I wouldn't want to get into that. I would like to get into the wider issues which led to this. Where like I was listening to the conversation before with the esteemed panelist, and I would just take it through whatever led to what happened today. So yesterday morning I had made a tweet, and I'm sure you had read the tweet. A lot of other people did read that tweet. I actually didn't expect this kind of viewership for that, because at the end of the day what I did, I thought was a very innocuous thing, where I was just let's say telling some of my concerns which I thought on some of these trends that I was seeing in the last 3-4 days. I had very clearly, specifically said that there are political differences I have with many political parties, but at the same time I said that there are certain concerns, like for example this particular documentary we are talking about. This is where all this problem started, which led to this. And this documentary itself, like many of us and me, many of you and I have very different views. Like for example, I am very proud of the fact that India is the world's largest democracy, one of the oldest democracies, and I do believe in freedom of speech and expression, and I am not for banning or blocking of anything or any documentary. But in this particular case, I had certain concerns, because here is a documentary which is coming from somewhere, and one of the masterminds behind this particular documentary is somebody who is also the same masterminds behind this war in Iraq, where that narration of weapons of mass destruction and a lot of other things were pushed, and it resulted in the death of so many people. It resulted in the death of so many people. It resulted in the death of millions of people. It resulted in the death of displacement of billions of people. And when somebody like that with such kind of dubious history, when you are bringing a project into India, any Indian citizen would be concerned. And if somebody is not concerned, I'd be very worried. So this is one thing, and this is something which I had mentioned in 4 or 5 words.
You said that very clearly in your tweet that you were worried, and this was not a good trend. But I want to ask you, many in the Congress party say that there was no official communication to you for retracting your tweet. You've used it as an excuse because you wanted to get out of the party for your own ambition. How do you respond to that?
So again, I'm telling you, like, I have so many, like, it was, let's say, there were people who had called me, the phone records are there are people who had texted me, the records are there, and then a lot of things that happened was, so these were the things which led to my action in the morning. Like, you can go to my Facebook wall. Like, I haven't deleted one single word. I haven't deleted one single sentence. Like, there are hundreds of scores of WhatsApp messages, text messages, which is actually blatant hate messages, blatant threats. Some of the most offensive languages you could use, and everything was meant for a purpose. And the purpose is either I should retract this tweet, or I should apologize, or I should, let's say, tell something contrary to what I already said. And this was certain people's intention. And end of the day, I personally felt that I actually did something which is based on my own convictions and based on my own whatever my conscience said, and something which I personally said, something which I would say 95% of this country will agree with me, and therefore I refuse to do that. And hence, till early morning, till 8 a.m., 9 a.m., even now, last time I checked in my phone also, I am getting these kind of messages more and more and more, and I know exactly where it is coming from. I have faced this before also. So end of the day, this official explanation saying that nobody has officially sent me a letter, I think when I hear it itself, I feel like laughing. It's a joke.
Anil Antony, the question tonight is also the fact that you mentioned that there is a coterie around Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and there are sycophants. Now, this truth has been stated several times. But one would have imagined, considering that your father and very senior Congress leader, Mr. A.K. Antony, has been, a very, very senior member of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's team, of the CWC, of the Congress party itself, head of the disciplinary committee. I want to ask you, have you felt this only now, or have you felt this all along?
See, end of the day, I've been seeing certain trends, and this is why, let's say, when the Congress presidential election also, when people, including my father, had stood with the one candidate, while I stood with Dr. Shashi Tharoor for a reason, and that is because I actually felt that this organization deserves some kind of change, and I stood with my convictions again. And I had been noticing certain things, and those certain things are not things which will actually take any political party forward.
Have you been in touch with Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Have you had meetings with him? Has he been open to ideas? After all, he is a member of parliament from Kerala.
See, again, I would say, let's say, I had meetings with them, and I appreciate a lot of things he is doing, including the yatra he is conducting from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, where he is trying to, let's say, give a message of unity and the end of hatred, and he is trying to convey a message of certain, he is trying to give a political message. But I actually feel bad for him because of the kind of people who is surrounding himself with, and the kind of people who claim to be his supporters, because they are actually standing for everything this person is actually talking about. They are, like I said, like yesterday I made a tweet. I don't think I have said anything wrong in the tweet. I only said two things in that. One of them is, this is a documentary that is coming with with certain people involved who got a lot of very dubious background. For example, BBC. A lot of people have been talking about BBC. The same BBC 2 years back had a map of Kashmir where half of Kashmir was not there, and they had showed that map, which finally they retracted. But this is the kind of outlet this is. And end of the day, I had certain reservations on that. And the second thing was, let's say, the only thing I mentioned is, end of the day, we shouldn't let partisan politics or our political differences ever come over our national interest. These are the only two things I had specified in the tweet.
Were you also hinting at Mr. Digvijay Singh's repeated comments? Were you also hinting at that?
No, I am not hinting. No, I was only hinting of this documentary.
But you agree with Mr. Digvijay Singh?
No, that, whatever I think and whatever the party's official stance is the same. End of the day, especially with my background, I am somebody who is a hardcore supporter of our armed forces. I'm never, in my life, I'm not going to make a statement that is against the interest of the armed forces in any manner, nor am I ever going to make a statement that will question the armed forces in public in any manner. So, I don't, end of the day, my thought process is exactly what the party actually said yesterday.
Anil Antony, before I let you go, I just want to ask you one question. Is Mr. A.K. Antony still sought advice from by the new Congress, by Mr. Kharge and Mr. Rahul Gandhi?
See, I don't know, because end of the day, he resigned. He has retired from parliamentary politics in April. He is 82 now. He has moved back to Kerala, and he is at this moment like he is not even interested to be that active in any kind of national or state politics. I'm sure they are having conversations, but what magnitude or what kind of conversations they are having, I am not aware of. So I would not be able to answer this question.
Well, Anil Antony, thank you for joining me on the News Hour and for taking a stand and exposing the hypocrisy. Clearly, that seems to be on display within the Congress. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Good night, be safe.